What's your comment?
Well, I'm getting so tired of religious people. I was in the dentist the other day, and this Jehovah's Witness walks up, and she starts telling me that I need to find God, and obviously I was partying the night before. I mean, I don't know if I looked kind of nasty or something, but she was telling me that, I need to find God because I'm going to be so much of a better person, and I said, I really don't care whether there's God or not. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't, thank you. I know I'm a snob when it comes to this. I don't look at religion as folks that are evolved. I look at them as people that are weak, for the most part. Whatever your faith is, I'm fine with it. I really am.
You're with Marx and the opium of the masses thing.
Absolutely. And look, almost every intelligent person I've had a conversation with says, yeah, but aren't you glad that the masses have this? And I think, well, what masses are we talking about? There's different religions. Yeah, I'm happy that the Buddhists have what they're into. No, I'm not happy about Islam and what they're into. And, people do that. Oh, well, Islam, the overwhelming majority of Islamic folks, if you ask them, do not think that folks that are not of their religion should exist. Right. And I don't like that. And I don't like that for any religion. And that is one of the fundamental tenets of almost every religion, which is if somebody believes in something other than your own religion, then they're wrong. Some take it a step further and say they're wrong and they need to be eliminated. I don't think that's a great ball to live on.
Yeah, there's no God but ours is pretty troubling. I was just reading recently about, 12-step programs have a second step, which is believing in a higher power and turning your will over to that higher power, which is, I think, why a lot of people, at least that we know, might want to try to find some kind of higher power where that phrase came from. And I was reading that the Buddhists accept the 12 steps, but they change God to good. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that.
Yeah, look, overall,
if you just believe in good.
Overall, here's what I want. I don't want to. I don't want a police. I don't want a police state, and I don't want a moral police state. And when somebody says, "Yeah, well, okay, all right, smart guy," then if you're walking down an alley, well, then who would you rather see? 3 Christians or 3 atheists coming at you? And my feeling is not so fast, religio. First off, like religious people never hurt anyone or never killed anybody.
Like Shirley Phelps is going to be a sweetheart making me jam?
I would rather have an atheist. The prisons are not populated with atheists, everybody. Here's what happens when you're an atheist. God is like a camera at the intersection. Take off your front license plate, duck, and maybe you can make it through without getting a ticket. When you're an atheist, the camera's in your car. It never leaves. You always know what you're doing and, more importantly, what you're doing to other people. There is a moral code, and I believe it is woven into the fabric of every human being. Oh, well, with no God, what's to say that raping your kid's sister's not going to be what's going to stop you from just walking into a liquor store and pistol whipping the poor Korean woman behind the counter and taking everything that's... I think there's some fundamental truths. I really do think there's an up and a down, a left and a right and a wrong in society. It's woven into every human being's DNA. And that point where people go, hey, you can't judge. It's the same thing we do with other cultures. That's their culture. I'm sorry. Stoning your wife because she looked at another man or drove in a car with another man is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. I don't care where you were born. I don't care what your effing God is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your parents told you. It's wrong. And you know what? I don't dress like you. I'm not the same color as you. I don't speak the same language as you. And I come from a different part of the world. And I'm telling you, from this part of the world, it's wrong. It's cosmically wrong. It's wrong to hurt other people. It's wrong to steal from other people.
Many of those things, though, are sort of Judeo-Christian tenets, 10 Commandment things.
Right. They're in...
don't covet, don't murder, don't steal.
Right. The Bible should be titled No Duh. Yes, don't F your neighbor's wife and don't steal or covet his oxen. It's all sort of, hey, keep in line, everybody. I understand that.
No duh or don't be a douche.
Yeah, don't be a douche. That's what the Bible should be called. And instead of assigning a cop in the sky, I would just like you to deputize every person not to F over their neighbor and not to hurt anybody else.
Yeah, I like to think of God as good, orderly direction.
Yeah.
It means something to me.
Right. And it is...
I didn't make it up, but I like it.
The people that believe there's some power out there that they're not aware of, all right, those guys are fours on the narcissistic bandwagon. And the ones that believe that they have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, they're sevens or eights. And then there are those who have conversations with Jesus Christ. They're more in the 9 category. And then the ones that believe they're supposed to put an explosive vest on and do Allah's work by going into the pizza place and blowing up the Jews who believe in another religion, and those guys are 10s. It's a narcissistic thing. Hey, people, I have the most humbling news on the planet for you. Nobody cares about you. You're going to be dead in 40 years, and all the other people that came before you thought exactly the way you did, and they're all on the ground. We're walking on them right now. They're not hovering up above us. There's nobody you're going to go hang out with after your demise. You're dead. You're an organic life form. You're put on this planet. Unfortunately, you're more evolved than a lot of other life forms. That means you have a brain, and that brain can turn on itself, and it can think, and it's good because it makes rocket ships and airplanes and trains and internet pornography, but it's also aware of its own demise. And now it had to create something to create essentially a pillow for us to land on. Otherwise, we'll go insane. Because we're aware, and God knows what the hell the animal kingdom would be doing if they knew they were going to die. I don't know if rhinos would get up and go to work in the morning. I don't know. I have no idea how my dog Molly would act if I told her in 5 years she's going to be gone.
Oh.
Well, I'm doing the doggy math.
Yeah.
Point is, and, she's a purebred, which means, they die early and their hips fall off.
True.
Point is we were blessed, sadly, with the knowledge of our own demise. Thus, we created God. And by the way, that's why the beginning of every single religion starts the same way. Be cool when you're on Earth, meaning stay in line,
right.
and don't worry, you'll go somewhere after. There's no religion, and there's no such thing as a religion that says, hey, when you die, that's it. You're dirt. You're worm food. That religion would never, ever catch on because the fundamental reason there is a religion is so that we can experience life after death. All we know is life, and we can't wrap our heads around no life. We can't emotionally or spiritually wrap our brains around that idea. So it's like, what happens after you die? You go to a better place. Then you hang out with, your grandparents and your dog and everyone else who died, and, that's where you hang out. And then eventually, your wife will die, or your kids will die, or your best friends will die, and then they'll come join you, and then you guys will hang out some more. Right. Oh, so great. You're just talking about an extension of what we're doing right now that goes on for eternity?
Without any of the work or the traffic or any of the difficulty or disease. I was recently reading a news poll, and it said something like 92% of Americans believe in God.
Yeah.
92%.
And then how does it work, too? Then we all die, and then what happens when Via Retardo dies? Does he come up and ruin heaven for us? he doesn't fix any...
Are there taggers in heaven, or they go to the other place?
Potholes or get rid of any graffiti or do anything like that? Or...
I find it really soothing. I guess most people are afraid of dying. I find it really soothing to what you said. In 40 years... none of us are going to be here. And in fact, I remember talking to you on the phone. I don't know if you remember this. It was during a particularly stressful time in the show's history. Mm-hmm. And I think you were napping. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think I would have asked you, God, this must be really intense. Are you nervous? How are you napping?
Was I staying home?
Yeah.
Was I doing my sick out?
Yeah. And you said, you know why? Because we're all going to be dead in 40 years. That's why I can nap. I found that very comforting.
Yeah, I'm a weird guy that in the most sort of stressful times in my life is when I do the most napping and the most sort of putzing around and the least